Testing, testing. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Say something. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Doing good.
Mark, it's been a minute, man. It's good to see you.
It's been way too damn long.
Yeah.
I've missed that shiny dome of yours.
Oh, I like that you finally came and joined us.
I gave up.
I think it's
I lose.
obligatory on this call.
Wyatt, I haven't seen you in a minute either. Have you joined us in the beautiful section yet?
I no, I joined last
Showing
week,
off all
or
that hair.
the last meeting I called into.
Right. Well, Denny, you want to test out sharing?
Yeah, how do I do it?
I think, let's see here.
I see a more function.
More.
Denny, are you still repping a lot of the MLR games?
Yes, I will this next season. Probably not as many, but yeah, still in the pool for MLR.
All right, Denny, are you able to share now? I just made you the host.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't see a function. Like I said, I do Teams. I don't do Zoom, so I need a little bit of help here.
If it's on there, it's on the very bottom bar where it says participants and then share screen and then chat.
Participants.
Do you see participants in chat at the bottom and reactions?
Yep.
And there's not a share screen in the middle?
I don't see a share screen in the middle. Oh, now I do.
You do. All right, give it a shot. See what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. Can you see it? Whoops, maybe I have to hit share.
Yep, you gotta hit share. Now there we go. Looks good.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Derward, good to see you on here. Jim Hutliger. We haven't seen you in a minute too.
Thank you, sir.
Stoked to see y'all. All right, so thanks everybody who joined on time. If you're just getting here, we're going to wait for another couple of minutes for people to join before we start. You'll hear me say this again, but just a couple of quick ground rules. If you are not speaking, please keep yourself on mute. If you have a question, I'll let Denny determine, how he wants to handle people with questions. But in general, if you have a question, feel free to jump in unless Denny says otherwise. Or you can put your question in chat. I'll be monitoring chat and we'll bubble those up at the right times. Kyle, good to see you. And Bobby Norman, is this the junior or the senior, Rob Norman?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good.
Is everybody ready to get back to it? And we have games already on the schedule for January. So far it's mostly college. We got one of the XV series games, but we're gonna have a normal regular season. We're gonna have plenty of opportunities for people to get a run in. Pretty stoked about it.
Cross your fingers.
Right?
I'm still wrestling with USA Rugby and my registration, but there we go.
Man, I can't wait until Sport Lomo is gone. What's up, Shadow? Mr. Maposa.
What's up, the lads?
What's up, Shadow?
Right, we are at 7:05, which means that we are 5 minutes past the starting time, which means that it's rugby time. So with no further ado, tonight we got Denny Russell. Most of you know him already, but he is a B panel referee who's been ARing in the MLR for the last for every season so far. He's one of the most accomplished referees in our society, and today he's going to talk about what I think is an underrated skill set. Like a lot of people, when they think about refereeing, they just think about centering, and they think about being on the touch line is just raising a flag. But as he's about to learn you, there's a lot more to it than that. And there's a lot more to being a good referee that has ARs than just, seeing the guy wave a flag. So with that, Denny, take it away.
Yeah, 100%. Once again, Jeff, thanks for allowing me to present. I'm excited about this. So once again, for those of you that don't know me, like Jeff said, my name's Denny Russell. I've been refereeing since about 2006, 8. I don't know. I'm getting long in the tooth. I don't remember when I started. Did a lot of stuff and continue to do a lot of stuff here in the Northwest. I've been also lucky enough to referee in the BC Premier for about 6-7 years. I've been fortunate enough, as Jeff mentioned, to do Major League Rugby. I've also had the opportunity to AR for USA versus Canada and a couple of other ARC matches. And I've actually been the head referee for a women's U21 Canada versus USA. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So Jeff asked me to present. And so this is about the assistant referee and, what goes into it. What I'm not really going to go into is all the details. I see Brett's on the call. He knows that for MLR, we go into an hour and a half long meeting just about touch. We go into an hour and a half long meeting just about grounding. Foul play is about 3 hours. And so what I kind of wanted to cover is, what does it take? What do you do to be an AR? And so kind of my objectives is, what's your mindset? I believe that's really, really large. Preparation, I'm going to cover, and then just kind of communication, pre-match, during the match, especially with the referee. Just some kind of roles. A lot of times, touch judge role. Basically, all a touch judge does is they do touch and goal, and they raise their flags for conversions or penalty kicks. That's all a touch judge is. A lot of times, as you guys as centers, if you have touch judges, they aren't necessarily ARs. They're just touch judges. So when you're an assistant referee, these are your primary roles: is touch and goal, foul play, that's really, really huge, and offsides at tackle and
Denny?
ruck. Yeah.
Denny, I apologize for busting in, but since I made you the host so that you could share, it's no longer letting me record. Can you click the record? Oh, you know what? I think it is recording already. Never mind. Continue. Forget that I said anything.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
My bad.
And then obviously conversions and penalty kicks go along with that. But there are other responsibilities that go along with being an AR. And I put this as other responsibilities because remember, we're the assistant referee and we're there to support the ref. And I'm going to get into how we build that relationship with the ref. But 22 meter was the ball brought back in for 22. Now we have 50, 22 grounding. And I highlight this one in red because at the MLR, that is a primary role for us with that. But then once again, it's anything else the ref needs. You have that conversation with them, hopefully before the game and maybe the days leading up to the game as well. I kind of put scrum and I put a little asterisk there. You might be asked if you're an AR, the referee might be, hey, can you look at the scrum? This is the time to kind of be honest, whether or not you can you tell if it was the tight head or the loose head that was committing the offense? So this is, being an AR is also about being honest with yourself and with the referee if that's really within your wheelhouse to do. So a little bit about mindset. You have to have confidence, absolute confidence in the calls you're going to be delivering either through the comms or just on the field if you don't have comms to the referee, that you can stand behind your decisions. The other thing is, remember, you're there to support the ref and not call the game. I've had games before where in my ear, all I hear is a chatter from an AR telling me about other things that I haven't asked for. And guys, we have to remember that you're running around, the referee has other duties that they're trying to do. They're hearing from the players. You guys all know this as referees. And the last thing they need to hear is a third voice in their ear coming in, telling them, hey, watch this, watch that. And I'll kind of get into it. There are times that you can help out the ref like that, but remember, we're not there to ref the game. Remember, your decisions have consequences. So if you're going to make that call that they're offsides and it's at the 79th minute and it's a tie game and it's right in front of the post, that's going to be the difference between winning and losing for one side or the other. And then the other one is with mindset is really dealing with the pressure. Nowadays, if you're doing an MLR game, it's on TV. It's a lot of these games that you guys do are recorded. It's on the internet. It's there forever. You have the large crowds, and then you have the players and coaches kind of in your ear. How many times have you guys heard a ref or a coach, if you've been fortunate enough to be an AR, hey, why didn't you make that call? That was side entry. They don't realize that's not one of our roles, to do. And so sometimes it's right then and there is not the time to educate them. It's you just kind of look at them, you nod, and you move on to, what your role is. But understanding what your role is really helps with mindset. And so kind of how we get to here is, first of all, guys,
Denny?
yep.
On the previous slide, Could you
Sure.
talk a little bit about confidence and how that is the same sort of confidence that a center ref needs to have?
Yeah. And in fact, I'm just going to go to the next, and
Oh, okay, then I'll shut up then.
this is, yeah, no, you're good. Good question. So Jeff's absolutely right. Confidence. How do you know? Laws. You need to understand all the laws, especially law 18 around touch. You have to know all the laws back and forth about foul play. You just have to know, just as a center ref, just because you're an AR, you have to know just as much as the center ref, because you're going to be miking in these calls and you have to have confidence. Was that the kick? And we're not going to have any examples, but a kick is going into touch and somebody jumps from outside of touch, bats it back, and it goes into the field of play. One team thinks that's touch and the other one thinks it's play on. Which one is it? Anyone? And the player that started out of the field of play landed in the field of play.
Play on as long as he didn't knock it forward.
Absolutely. But once again, in real time, when this, with these pressure situations, you have to have that kind of confidence. And the confidence comes from really understanding the laws and that the laws back and forth. The other one is fitness, guys. You need to be fit to really accomplish the mission of an AR, whether it's in the MLR, BC Premier, XV Series, your local derby. It leads to, when you're making decisions and you're there to make that decision, you're Johnny on the spot. It leads credence. Nobody's going to second guess you. How many times have you guys been players or watched other refs and they make a call from 25 meters away and the players and everybody's just kind of looking at them? It's you just don't have buy-in, and that's really what we want. The center ref wants buy-in. You're trying to assist him, and if you're not Johnny on the spot, it doesn't help. And I'll play a little video a little bit later on how positioning and as a result of fitness leads credibility to your decisions and your buy-in from the players on the field. Other thing that goes into preparation, has the team of three communicated prior to the match. Most games that you guys are going to do, you probably aren't going to be talking to the ref the Wednesday before the game, or the ref hasn't sent you a slide deck about what they're looking for in the next game. But you don't want to, and we're going to touch on this, you don't want to show up late and you just put on your jersey and you shake the hand of the ref that you're going to be helping out, and then you go forward. So communication is a big part of the preparation. So now we're to match day, guys. And this is what I was talking about before, is you should be there 90 minutes before the match. If you're assigned as an AR, that means somebody like Jeff has deemed this to be a big match. And so you owe it to the players and you owe it to the ref to be there 90 minutes before. That's a great opportunity to talk with the ref, get to know them. This may be their first match at this level. It might be a level that you guys are accustomed to doing, but it might be their first match at this. And that's going to help with your mindset to how you might be able to assist them. A lot of times with the MLR, I've met these guys over, Zoom, team meetings, but I've never really met them in person. And it gives us an opportunity to just kind of chit chat. You get to understand the ref. They get to understand you and the other AR. And the other AR, you might not know either. And remember, this is kind of a concert that works between the three of you for great outcomes. And that's a great time for them to find out what they need from you. Hey, can you hold my whistle? I have an extra whistle. Can you hold my whistle? Sure. I'm willing to do that. Just, hey, do you know where these teams are? So the ref needs to focus on that. Us as assistant referees, we go and find out from the team manager or the coach or wherever, hey, when's a good time to talk with your team if that's something that the ref is going to ask. The other thing is, walk the ground. That's another good time, that 90 minutes prior, to better understand, the field the player going to be working with, see if the ref needs anything. Even at the MLR level, we've walked the field and we're like, hey, the benches are too close to touch. And so I'm like, I'll take care of that. I go and talk with the referee, with the manager for the Seawolves. Hey, this needs to be back a couple more meters. And they accomplish that. The other thing, when you're ARing, guys, we're not here to watch the game, meaning like as a spectator. Oftentimes when somebody's asked me, how was the match? I really don't know, because I'm so focused on my roles and responsibilities that I'm not really watching the game. And you need to have that concentration, knowing what your roles are and focusing on that to help out the ref. And I touched on this previously, is that we are here to support the ref and not call the game. So if it's foul play, if it's offsides, those roles that we've been asked to do, yeah, we can communicate that in. But if it's something else and the referee didn't call it, don't ping it in. Don't say anything. And I'll kind of take it as an aside right there. Side entry, right? Maybe that's not a role that the ref asked me to do. But maybe during downtime, there's an injured player, an MLR, they have the water break. That's the time where I might just have a little chit chat. Hey, I just been noticing you might want to watch the defensive pillars as they're joining the ruck. That's kind of a cue. And once again, I can say the same message to different referees depending on what their level is and what they're experiencing. So that's something to do. Kind of going back, there's going to be some very tight decisions. We don't have TMO, do we? We have that one opportunity to get it right. And all I ask, and all anybody's going to ask of you guys, is just be confident in your decision. Are you going to make wrong decisions in real time? Yes. It just happens. Nobody's going to be absolutely perfect, but we always strive to be 100% as much as we can. Don't go into the mindset, well, they already know 20% is going to be wrong, so I don't have to do that. There's going to be some tight decisions, but just if you know your laws, you're fit, you're there, your body language is going to show your confidence in the calls that you make. And kind of some triggers to help the ref. If you're lucky enough to be calmed up, if the referee has, huge decision he made, we didn't compliment, great call. Sometimes when I'm the center ref, I'll tell my ARs that at the 60th minute, because that's usually when we're all just getting tired. It's been running. You're being able to make decisions isn't great. I ask them, if I'm not on my horse, ping me in. Just say, hey, Denny, you need to get on your horse. Just kind of those little triggers to help. Just like I said before, when I was talking about pillars, is in the MLR, if the offside's creeping in and I'm pinging in offsides, but the referee isn't taking it during downtime. I might be saying, hey, check your pillars. They're really close, because we all know that the pillars kind of set the offside line for everybody that goes out into the back line. And that kind of lets them know that they're kind of over by a step because of the way that the referee is setting the offside line. And we go from there. And something else I mentioned, hey, when you ping in something to a referee and they don't take it, it's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing a bad job. They're seeing, remember, they're seeing a different flow, and they're fine. And you're right, it could have been offsides, but they decide to play away from that. That doesn't mean that at the next offsides you don't ping that in again. It's not a slight towards the AR. And as referees, guys, when you have ARs, let them know that it's, hey, because at the end of the day, the ref has the final decision. They get to decide what inputs they're going to take from the ARs and apply them. So it's not that you weren't right with that. They've just decided to play away from that. So a little bit more about communication, and a lot of times this happens with foul play. These are usually big decisions because usually with foul play, you're going to end up, you can end up with a yellow or red call. The first bullet is probably the most important, is if any of your thoughts start with that you would say to a ref, I think or I believe, leave it. That means you want to make sure that you're 100% positive about a high tackle. I think it was above the shoulders, or I believe if you can't come up to a ref and absolutely say that, then just kind of leave it in your pocket and we just play away from that. When you do spot foul play, make sure to use color and number. That's what we, first thing is red 7. I have foul play, red 7. Keep on saying that into your comms. If you don't have comms, obviously, what are we going to do? We're going to have our flag out. Keep your flag out. So if the referee hasn't seen it and you have your flag out for 4 minutes, that's fine. That's just the way it goes till they acknowledge your foul play, and you can talk about it if you don't have comms. With us, we keep on, when you do have comms, we wait for an acknowledgement from the referee, and that they heard our input, and they'll decide when they want to have stop play. That's up to them.
Let me just jump in there. I'm not positive everybody on this call actually knows this, but when we hold our flag out horizontal to the field, that has a very specific meaning, and that means I saw foul play. And this is one of the primary roles of an AR. So Denny was saying that like a touch judge has these roles and an AR has these roles, plus anything that the referee asks. Well, one of the roles that an AR has is to spot foul play. And so if you see foul play, you hold your flag out horizontal, and the referee will tell you before the game, here's how I want you to deal with it. But like I will tell my ARs, if we don't have comms, just keep shouting my name, right? But because that means foul play, when the referee sees it, they have to stop the game and come talk to you. And when they talk to you, there's going to be, Denny will talk about the things that you want to have. That's what he was just talking about. But that also means that anytime you see somebody on the field and they're saying like, I have your offside line here, and they're using their flag to gesture, that's the wrong thing. So if you're on the sideline, if you're an AR and you're trying to tell the fly half, I've got your 10 meters here at the line out, do it with your open hand, right?
No, 100%, Jeff. Thanks for interjecting. Jeff's absolutely right, and maybe just a little bit about that as, like I said, we can have to really to understand AR takes many, many hours of these types of meetings. But when you are an AR, one of the best things to do is have a relationship with the winger. They're the closest one to you that can hear. So when you have the fly half number 10 offsides, it's like, hey mate, get your fly half on sides. He's offsides. Let them know. When they're back 10 and they look at you, give them a thumbs up saying, yep, that's exact. We're good there. So it's a good thing to do. So you've calmed in something that you have foul play, high tackle, red 4, right? He's like, okay, and if blue has the ball, he's going to probably let blue continue on if there's a scoring opportunity to see what happens from here. If there's no scoring opportunity, usually a referee, and you guys, for those of you that have had ARs or something like that, you would just blow it. There's no scoring opportunity. I need to go see what this is. So during that time, once again, it's a great time. It's a pressure situation. Just kind of in your mind, what did I see? I did see this. That's why I calmed it in. And how am I going to tell the ref? So I kind of underline this. Make sure you have the correct number. Even at the MLR side, it's happened that the wrong guy got the yellow card, the wrong number, because the AR got the wrong number. If you don't have a number, and let's say it was a punch, you can still calm that in. And while you're calming it in, maybe you're trying to look for that player's number, and maybe you just can't get it. But you still play needs to stop. You're going to need to tell the ref what you saw, that, hey, there was in the last ruck, I had a punch by blue. I was unable to get a number. So what the referee would do, what I would do from that situation is I would go talk with the captain of blue and say, hey mate, you're lucky that one of your players is staying on the field. We had a punch by blue, but we didn't have a number. Let's raise our standards, or whatever the referee wants to say from there. But getting the number is really, really large. And the overriding principle really is less is best. You don't want to go, hey, so then I had blue 4, he came from here and he did this, and and then this happened, and you're just having this conversation. You really just want to stick to the facts. I have a strike by blue 4, and then the referee, and when you guys are referee, it's like, so was this to the head shoulder area? Was it a closed fist? The referee's going to should be asking you other questions about what's going to be occurring from there. And just like this, what have you got? And this becomes important, very important, when you're the only one that saw the foul play and the referee didn't see the foul play. And even if the referee saw the foul play and they go advantage, high tackle, comment that you also saw it, because he might want to triangulate with you the conversation about, maybe he only saw part of the punch and you saw something else that might mitigate a yellow down to something else, or more than likely raise it to a higher sanction. But during these times, don't come up to the ref, hey, I saw blue 4. Yeah, he's been in a bad mood all day, and he doesn't like red 6, and he punched him, and it's a yellow card. That's actually the wrong approach to do. All we want to do to give to the ref is, I have a strike. You can say, I have a strike to the head of red 5. The referee might then add, just based upon that, the referee's like, so you have a close hand with was it with force? And like I said, I don't want to go into foul play too much, but it's more about the conversation. The referee should be leading the conversation, and you will just kind of fill in the blanks for him as he goes forward. Yes, with force, closed fist. If they haven't seen it, they're going to take your information. Do you have a recommendation? For me, I would say I would recommend a red card. Or if he also saw it, he goes, you know, I have a red card. Do you have anything to add? Nope, that's the same sanction I would give, and we would move forward. But remember, at the end of the day, the referee owns the decision. All you can do, all we're there is to provide him factual stuff to help him get to his decision. And, we just kind of go from there. I will tell you that, like in the MLR, we've had it where a decision, we've said, I have a strike to the head with force by blue 4. Okay. I'm going to go with yellow is what the ref said. And you think it's a red. Do you concur? We have, and this is kind of the triggers because we've had these communications beforehand, would be, I wouldn't say yes. I'd go, once again, I have blue 4 with a strike to the head with force. Since I didn't answer him and we're mic'd, and for us, we're on TV, so everybody's listening. I'm not telling the listening audience that I disagree with the ref, but maybe the referee really didn't hear what I was putting down. And they're like, so that's a cue for them that they might need to ask more questions of us and then try to get to that. But if they ask more questions and they still go with the yellow card, we go with the last bullet. They own the decision and we move forward. So here's a little bit about, sorry, was there a question? Okay. Once again, just a little bit about touch.
I have a quick question, but it might be,
Go ahead.
sorry, it might be out of scope, and that's okay. I was just curious, one of the things you mentioned, holding the flag out, and like Jeff said, a lot of times when we've seen situations like that, usually there's good communication. And in your case, when you have a headset, it's probably easy to communicate. But you had mentioned just holding that out for even a couple of minutes. Is there a point where, I mean, as the center ref, how do you come back to that after you've had a few phases or some other stuff happen? Is that still something where you can come back to that easily?
Short answer, I don't know about the word easily, but yes, you can come back to that. Just because play went on, if there was something that is deemed a yellow and the team still scored, depending on what it is right there, you can still come back to what occurred and issue a yellow if necessary, depending on what the infraction was. Does that make, I'm sorry, did somebody want?
Yes, no, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, but the overriding principle is you hold out if you don't have comms, hold out your flag till that flag is seen by the ref and you've talked about it, especially when you don't have comms. It's very, very important. It's gone on for 13 phases. And then it's kicked to touch, and it was like 2 minutes ago. You still have your flag out. The referee can still come back depending on what it is and adjudicate from there. So once again, just be confident about that. Keep that flag out. And believe it or not, having comms sounds like it's it's the wonder pill, but I can't tell you how many times that, and Brett can speak to this, that it's like the comms don't work or they were working and you can't hear.
It's
Um,
usually when John has set him up.
That's right. When John sets them up, they're a debacle. Uh, as well, having comms is you're running and you're trying to push that button, and you think you got that button pushed, and it's not pushed, and just from an earpiece point, it is hard to hear somebody that's running on the field going, "Oh, foul play, red six," and you're all you hear in your ear is, and it's like, is somebody trying to come into me? So, if you do have the opportunity to work with comms, one thing I will stress is uh, make sure to hold in that button, and when you can, speak clear and loud and slow. Because remember, the referee is also been running around, and it's sometimes hard for them to hear.
So comms are a bit of a luxury at the LRO level a lot of times. But we're trying to change that. We have a few sets of comms now. We're trying to make sure that people get experience with them. But really, it all comes down to having that conversation before the game with the center ref as a team of three. So if you're a center ref and you have ARs, and you need to have the conversation, but you need to say, in this situation, here's how I want you to get my attention. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and we're talking about the AR thing, but just like Jeff said, you might be the center ref and you're going to have ARs. So, a lot of this applies to the center ref. How do I want to set up the ARs to be successful as well? So, how do I, go through these scenarios, and you don't want to be doing it 5 minutes before the game because nobody's listening. You're trying to put on your jersey and you got everything else and everything's going. So, that's why showing up, whether you're the head ref or you're the AR, is showing up early. So you can kind of go over these things if you haven't had the opportunity, the days before to have that conversation. And I will stress that if you are going to be an AR for somebody, you can reach out to them and just go, "Hey, do you have anything for me?" Email them and say, "Do you have anything that that you're going to be working on, or anything you need from me, in advance?" It's just a good practice. If you're the ref and you're going to have people at your local derby, reach out to them. And I have a sheet when I'm the head ref about what I would like to have from ARs, and every referee is different, but it's a good practice to start thinking about. And if you haven't implemented it, kind of think about how you want to. And we're all different, and this isn't one size fits all. We're all, the way that I want to be communicated to might be different than the way that Brett wants to be communicated to, or Jeff wants to be communicated to. We all approach the game slightly different. We're all there for the same outcome, but we can still approach it differently. So once again, with touch, are you in a credible position for the call? So I am going to play this. So the guy's about ready here to kick, and he's just kind of hanging out here. And if you're at altitude, where do you guys think this player, where this AR should be? No guesses? I know you guys know where the
It's
John.
kind of written on the screen, Denny.
There we go. I should read before I ask questions. So yeah, so he's not on the corner post, and why is that important? So we'll play it out. So because he wasn't in a credible So did it go over the post? Did it not? And he's making a call, and one side's going to be furious because they're going to think that the call didn't go their way, and they're going to be blaming the referee. Sorry, there's a part in here. So here the AR started from behind the post. He knows it's good, nice and easy, and just goes to it. So first thing with touch, guys, and I see this at at all the international level, you won't see this, but even at the MLR is how oftentimes do they raise the flag and then they put their arm out right away? That's actually probably that in fact is not the sequence that you should do. Is you should raise your flag and then you need to watch the ball, because you need to know, can a quick throw occur? If you turn your back away from where the ball is and has the ball been touched by a spectator or something else, obviously a quick throw cannot occur. But if you say, yep, if you're so focused on where touch is and putting your arm out and not watching the ball, they do a quick throw and the referee might be coming into you. Are you good with that? And you're just like, oh my goodness, I was not watching that. So you definitely want to watch. You just turn your body, put your flag up, and just turn and watch until you know a quick throw cannot happen. The other reason you want to know about the quick throw and where the touch is you'll see this is the team that can do a quick throw will run up and they might be in front of where it went out and touch. So there can't be a quick throw. They throw it, the ball goes on. If you have comms, say no quick throw. And even at the MLR side, even with comms, I say it out loud before I even comms that the players around know I'm saying no quick throw. So there isn't play going on and there's all this confusion that's going around. And then obviously you should know where it went out because that is important. Do you have to be to the centimeter exactly where it went out? No. But you shouldn't be off by 2 meters, 3 meters, especially in an attacking situation. That's there. But even 2 to 3 meters, not a big deal. You shouldn't be off by 5 or 10. You should be paying attention to where that goes. And the box that I have here is some of the things that the referee might do. And this is what the assistant referee, straight throw. But you notice that I have straight throw in both. The referee might say, I have everything in the air, meaning they're going to call the straight throw. You don't need to worry about it. But since we've had that communication beforehand, that's kind of off of my chest. But as an AR, this is an expectation at the line out that you might be called for the straight throw. The dummy throw, the double pump, that's something that you should be coming into the center ref. Oftentimes, and as a referee, we're referees. Usually they're back by the 15, right? So they can't see, did it go 5? Right? That's your job, is that contest, not going 5. The other thing is there opposition to the throw? So if there isn't opposition to the throw, you guys should stand just gently. Some of these lads are quite large, well, a lot larger than I and taller. Is I kind of put my hand around and I'm pointing over here to the opposition there, because if they don't have opposition to the thrower where are they putting that player? More than likely in the back line. So now all of a sudden, the team that's throwing it in has less of an advantage to have a break if they want to take the ball out wide. As well is contest in the air or in the ground if there's anything there. And usually that's all around foul play. And I'll give you a little anecdote that in an MLR match, there was a line out up in the air, was to the Seawolves, and somebody hooked the arm of the jumper and brought him down. And I mic'd in, you know, foul play, but I didn't have a number, just foul play blue. And the referee just said, okay, and played on and never came back to the foul play. And when we review all of our games, and the first video that they had to show for review was Denny, what happened here? And I said, I mic'd it in, and he said, okay. And he just kind of played away and never came back. And my problem is the communication with the referee. He didn't hear that it was foul play. He had saw something else that was just a scrum infraction, and he played away from that. And I didn't come back to him about the foul play. So even though we're both looking at the same thing, that was a lesson for me that when you guys see foul play, make sure that the referee also understands that it is foul play. And if they don't come back to the foul play, if you have the comms, I did have foul play on the line out. They might be, I didn't hear that. And then, we can have a conversation about that. I know a lot of you guys aren't necessarily going to have comms, but, when there is the dead ball, you need to be able to step up and tell the ref, I had foul play back at that line out for this. And then it's up to, to the center ref to how he wants to deal with that. But just think about it also, when you guys are all referees, you want that information, right? You don't, and especially if it's a local derby and you don't have these things, and he forgot to put out his flag, or he put out his flag and then he put it back down, and he was like, oh, the referee doesn't think anything about this. You want to make sure that if you played away and you're looking on the far side and you still see your AR with that flag out, you're going to stop and you're going to walk over there and have that conversation. So once again, that was a lesson learned for me. I didn't have the confidence to follow up with that foul play. So I got grilled for 15 minutes by Jonathan Kaplan, who's done World Cup rugby, by my other compatriots. It's a little humbling, but that's just kind of part of the process.
And kind of to go back to an earlier conversation about how radios are not like the solution to every problem, in this instance, or I guess in a lot of times we kind of use radios as a crutch, and we kind of get into bad habits and lose kind of our fundamental tools. Like, if there's a communication error, and we flag it too, then there's a visual cue as well. So we kind of get into bad habits just relying on radios.
No, Brett, that is an excellent point. And if it is a crutch, and sometimes even at the levels, it's like, yeah, you calm that in, but maybe they haven't seen that, and having that visual cue followed up with the flag out. That's the universal for all referees, that there is foul play that's occurred. So yeah, definitely when if you haven't had the opportunity to use comms, or even if you are using comms, be cognizant, like Brett said, to not create a crutch for yourself, that there are other things that you should be doing. Comms are just a tool. They're not the only tool in your toolbox to get to the right outcome. The other thing here is with grounding. So you want to get there as quickly as you can, and then actually slow down. Because if you're bobbing your head up and down trying to see grounding, it's just difficult. And you want to get there. So that means we got to be fit. There's a breakaway. Carlin Isles is running down, and you do your best to get towards that grounding. But once you're close to it, you need to kind of slow down, kind of crouch, you don't need to even necessarily need to crouch. What you want to do is try to get your head still. So it's just like a camera. If you're running with the camera and it's going up and down and you try to take a picture, it's a blurry picture. But if you have a camera and it's stationary and you click it, it turns out beautiful. You have a better view of what's actually occurring. So we'll just kind of play this out. So once again, I will go back here. So it's kind of hard to tell, but all the ref is doing is they're watching touch. What are they not doing? They're not watching the game like, oh, I wonder who he's going to pass to or anything else. So like I said, a lot of times we don't, as ARs, really get the full scope of the game because we have other duties to watch. And now,
Hey, Denny, just a heads up. We got about 10 minutes left. Okay.
Perfect. So even there, his first primary was for touch, right? So he's on the line. He can see if that's going to occur. Then he's there to see if he can help with grounding. And that's the second bullet point is to triangulate with the ref. So basically, be where the ref isn't. If the ref is end goal, there's no reason for you to be end goal. Maybe you should be on the attacking side, because if the scrum half knocks it on, and you're both end goal, you're going to hear the defense screaming bloody murder, but you guys didn't see anything. So it's for everything. So if he's on the attacking side, get on the opposite side so you guys can triangulate for the best possible view of any possible grounding. So guys, in conclusion, seriously, believe in yourself. And to do that, be fit so you can be in the best position possible. You have to know your laws so you can make that right call, and just communicate. Communicate before the game, during down times, whenever you can, for that game to because remember, we're all referees. We love the game, but it's for those 30 players that are out there. The more that we're able to communicate that we're fit and we know our laws, is going to make a better game for everyone involved. And, at the end of the day, have fun, because even though it can be stressful, it's a lot of hours that you put in. It's been an absolute honor being able to do the matches that I've done, to AR on MLR, and everything I've been able to do. So there we are. Thanks everyone for having me. And just under the wire.
Thanks, Denny.
No, thanks.
Who has questions? So we got Denny to finish on time, so we have times to grill him with more questions or to generally give shit to Clavin.
So I've got a question for Denny, like always. So
bring it.
It sounds like we're ARing at a decent level is very similar to refereeing, in that you go through the qualification course, and then you sort of learn on the job. So learning the laws, learning the rules, and being an effective referee is, the effective referee is something that you pick up as you go along. So we tend to tell new referees that the thing to focus on is work out the breakdown and everything else will fall into place. What's the equivalent for being a pretty good AR to work on this and then everything else will follow?
So before you even get to being a good AR, I would say is as a referee, you just need to referee a lot of games. It wasn't to understand what the center needs. And the only way you're going to understand what the center needs is being in that position. Is just to referee a lot of games, to know your laws. I was fortunate. There was a place called the RavTab where some of the people on this call, Shadow, John, myself, Jeff, after each game, we pony up, grab some beer, and then whoever had ref that day got an earful. And we did scenarios and we did everything else. I would just, as much as you can, is reach out to your buddies that also love refereeing and everything else, and just kind of shoot the shit and kind of test each other, challenge each other. And so to all the guys I just mentioned, I wouldn't be doing MLR without them. They challenged me the whole time, and they called a spade when I screwed up. They would let me know it, and we had some great discussions about our interpretation of this and that, and I learned a lot from them. So I know I'm kind of going a little bit off from what you had asked, John, but I think just to be really good at anything to do with rugby is to challenge yourself, is to put in the effort and to do as many games as you can. But I would, above anything else, for an aspiring AR is to really know your laws, and your laws around foul play and touch really go a long ways in helping that.
I think Jonathan. I think Jonathan Kaplan's answer would be to your question, John, is AR etiquette, as he calls it. And that's essentially your fundamentals, knowing your touch laws, proper, when the ball goes into touch, having the flag in the right hand, all those fundamentals, having them in place, and then you can build on that. But you can't get very far if you don't do the basics right.
So let me ask the question that John asked in a slightly different way. So if you show up to the pitch and you have two people that you don't know how well they AR, what advice would you give them? Say they've never AR'd before. What do you tell them, like in that, like, you've got 15 minutes in order to tell this person what it is you want? What is it you would tell them?
Yeah. So let's say they just show up and I maybe they've never read a law book. For whatever reason, Jeff has assigned two people off the street, off the corner to AR for one of my batches.
No. You can assume that they know the laws and they're a certified referee, and that's all you know.
100%. I'm just gonna want, and from a ref, I'm gonna be like, guys, let's work together. Let's make sure that we're there for touch. Make sure for me, following the ball is actually quite important. And if you can make sure to stand on the offside lines, to keep the players back, and just kind of watch my back. Let's make sure for any foul play, please let me know about that. So if I haven't communicated with my ARs ahead of time and I don't know my ARs, then I personally would try to reach out the week before to give them my little lists and ask them if they have any questions of me. If I haven't had that opportunity, I'm not going to put a lot of onus onto them. I can, as the game is continuing on, and if, wow, this all of a sudden, you know, I have a world-class referee that's ARing for me, and I didn't notice that, I might ask more of them. But really, for the most part, in our scenario, the scenario you just put forth, I would just ask for, hey, let's just watch our touch, let's watch that offside lines, and let's just watch foul play. And just mic it into me, and I'll lead those conversations, and I got your back. I need to give confidence to, and that's the other important thing as a head ref, guys. When you have ARs, I have your back. That if you tell me something, you know, I got your back, and if we go with that decision, I'm going to trust you, because the last thing you want is ARs that have doubt.
So
I didn't really answer your question, did I?
No, I mean you did in a slightly different way than I would have answered it. And the one piece that I would say is that, like, if the ball's the thing that I tell newer ARs all the time is, if the ball's going away from you, then hang back, and if the ball's coming towards you, then get ahead of the ball. And the reason for that is what you were just saying about watching your back, which is it makes it easy for people to decide when they should be watching your back, right? But that's the magic that I tell people about triangulation. Might be bullshit, doesn't matter.
I think the piece that goes with that is that there's not a lot of point in having the same view of things as the referee does. So you want to try and get a different view, so you will catch more things.
Yes. Remember, I only have 15 minutes to talk to these guys, so I just want the basics, and then we can work from there. But, you know, to answer yes is, and we could have other meetings, because positioning that you just mentioned, Jeff, is huge for the team of three. You know, trailing referee, what does that mean? Where am I supposed to be when the ball's away? If the kick is on the far side of the field, what is the far side referee's AR's responsibility versus the AR that's closest? So in that scenario, the farthest way of one, the way we do it in the MLR, is I'm looking for that foul play, like the late charge into the kicker, right? Because the closest referee they have to worry about touch, because that's where the ball's going. So they're kind of, they've seen the kick, they've glanced for a second, and then they're kind of watching the ball and everything else. But the far side referee doesn't have to watch the ball. They're watching the kicker, and they're making sure that there isn't any foul play that's occurred right there. They're also watching for players in front of the kicker that then start advancing. So, but like I said, I tried to put something together, because these are all great questions, and there's a reason why with the MLR we have the 7-week lead up just to the first game, talking about these different scenarios, because each one that you guys brought up is a hour conversation that we could go over, and different, you know, with different videos and things like that.
How long would these conversations be if they had smarter people on them?
Well, John thinks he's smart, and every time I talk with him, my phone dies. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
John doesn't think he's smart.
And that's the problem. Anything else, guys?
Well, this is free for all at this point.
I just want to say thank you.
No, absolutely. It was my pleasure, guys.
Is the beard coming back this season?
Nope.
Boo.
Are you gonna pack your socks this time?
Fuck. God damn. Yes.
2 pairs every game
Yeah. Yeah.
and a jersey.
Yeah. Guys. Everything they've said has happened to me at the MLR where I've shown up and I don't have the right I don't have pink socks. And I had to go downstairs and buy a close enough pink, but people that knew, I mean, if you really look at the TV, it's like Denny's socks are off. Or I forgot my jersey and I had to have my wife drive it down to Tukwila. And needless to say, she wasn't the happiest of people. But that kind of goes into the prep. I did a poor job of prepping. I packed my, I hadn't packed my bags the night before. I got my jersey, my socks, everything into my bag. I had been doing something during the day and I hurriedly did it. And, the old adage that the separation is in the preparation. And on those days, my preparation was shit.
So learn from what Denny has experienced. And check your kit the night before.
And check it in the morning and check it before you leave. I now have a list that I print out of everything I need. And my wife actually goes over it with me because she's like, I'm not driving down to Starfire again. So yeah. Do I have 2 watches? Do I have 2 whistles? Do I have 2 sets of boots? Yes. 3 pairs of socks, just in case, because I like to forget them. Yeah.
I have one more question. Is there and this might be for John, is there a quality AR training course that we can take online at this point?
If you leave out the word quality, then yes, there is. The very best way to learn how to be a good AR, though, has got nothing to do with that course. It's, as Denny alluded to earlier, go and do some ARing with a couple of critical pricks as referees or as spectators, and they will help you be better. The coursework that we have, it's not. This isn't a USA Rugby knock. This is all through the unions. ARing is seen as being an art that is. There's not a good system for teaching people how to do it, and there's an overall assumption that if you were a good referee, you'll be a good AR, and it's subtly different. That's not a true statement. So I personally think the only way to do it, the only way to get good at it, is to do it.
Yeah, and even with the MLR, they used to do that. Like for the final, we won't have any of the ARs. We're just going to have the other refs that were center refs. And starting last year, they're like, nah, that isn't the best idea because they're not used to doing ARs. They're used to being center, and their mindset is different just to what they're watching and just the slight nuances versus somebody that's been doing it over and over and over.
Yep.
So they now have it that the ARs will be the ARs. The best ARs from that year will do the semis or the finals.
Hey, Denny, I have a question. For ARing up in like the higher levels, like XP series, MLR and up, do they like open it up? Do you like apply to it? Like how do you start that process of moving up through the ranks?
A lot of it starts probably with some of the people that are on this call, that they see that you've been putting in the work, the effort, whether it's refereeing or doing whatever. And then, they put your name forward, but and that's going to be somebody like Jeff, that he's seeing what you're doing. And it's like, why don't we challenge this person to this next step? And I'm sure, and I don't want to speak for Jeff, but a lot of times I put my hand up saying, this is something I want to do. So one, it attract the attention that this is something I want to do. But then I still needed to put in the work of refereeing as much as I can, trying to AR as much as you can. A lot of times we just don't have enough games to have, for people to get practice at ARing. And so sometimes it is a little bit of trial by fire. But Jeff, am I right? It's, people have to raise their hand and then you kind of do your magic.
You're mostly right. And in
I'll
that,
take that.
that's the way it's worked in the past, is you had to have some combination of like volunteering and somebody thinking that, hey, I'm gonna go find this, or like this person, for whatever reason, I think that they have some sort of magic beans inside of them. We're trying to move away from that nebulous process and have something a little more formalized in place. And it's actually a work item on my plate that I'm hoping to get done by the end of the year. And that's to publish the new criteria and new process on the regional development group's website. It is still going to be you raise your hand, but we're going to have a place where you tell your LRO, hey, I want to be on the high performance pathway. They put you onto it and then there's a series of tiers. Tier 4 is basically anybody can be on it. All you have to do is have a video on Advantage that we can review outside of your LRO. So somebody from Utah would say, hey, I want to be on the high performance group. They're now in it once they post a video and they have somebody from outside of Utah review that. Once we have enough people who are part of the regional development group, Brett's been helping drive that from our society. Once we have enough people from the regional development group who think that you're ready for inclusion at the higher level, you get moved up to the tier 3, and that's from where we draw XV series, WPL, D1A, whatever of the competitions are saying, hey, we want people from the development group. That's where they're going to come from, is either our tier 3 or our tier 2. Tier 2 is the people who are trying to get on the national development group, and everybody in tier 2, and then tier 1 is the people who are like able to referee any match in the US. So if there's a basically if World Rugby comes to us and says we need your top referees, they're going to be coming from the tier 1 nationally. So to sum up, anybody from our LROs who says, hey, I want to be part of the development group can be in tier 4. They will be ranked by people outside their society, put into tier 3. Tier 3 and tier 2 are the groups that are going to be going into competitions that are pulling for that. One wrinkle to that is that, like I said, that's on my to-do list. We're still in the process of getting this published. So until that actually happens, just tell me that you want to be part of it, and we'll get you on these as we can. We have XP series games coming up in January. So if you want to AR for those, or put your name in the ring for refereeing them, let me know. Did that answer your question, Megan?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. To build on that, when you're saying the decision is made, I'm kind of lost as to, is it other refs that makes that decision, or is it like an ownership thing, especially for like as we move up, or we try to move up, right, to like the MLR level? I'm kind of curious as to who makes these decisions. And I know you said it's kind of opaque right now, but
so the regional development group, which is West Coast. So it's PNRRS, NorCal, SoCal, Utah, Colorado, and Southwest. We promote and control the referees who are in tiers 4 through 2. And that's basically all the referees that get pulled for things. Tiers 2 and 3 are the referees that get pulled for things like D1A, WPL, XV series. MLR is a completely separate competition that has their own pool of referees. They don't consult with us for anything except give us your best. And frankly, the criteria upon which they choose their referees is not what I wouldn't recommend, like shooting for I want to be on MLR unless their criteria is not that you're the best referee. You have to be a decent referee, but their criteria is that you look good on TV. Yeah. Okay, Denny. Yes, you look very nice on screen.
Okay, yeah, that was what I was just wondering about. I was just curious about that. Thank you.
If you want to be considered for MLR, you do want to be in the regional development group. You do want to be trying to get onto tier 2. But the way to do that is to attend lots of trainings, referee lots of games, be willing to accept coaching, and be willing to consciously practice improving your craft as a referee.
Yeah, and I would add, if your goal is to referee or AR in the MLR, your focus should be getting into that RDG group and growing from there. Because the people that select for MLR kind of, they just want to know who the top people in the USA. It's a totally separate group. So there's a lot, with the MLR, there's a lot of being in the right place at the right time, luck. It's not always fair. It's based on regionally where you're at. If you live in Iowa, unfortunately, they don't have a team. You're not going to be part of MLR. And, so there's some very good refs in the United States, in the Midwest. They don't have a team. They don't get to AR. So MLR is a lot of, being in the right spot at the right time. Some luck goes into it. So the only thing you can control is, your ability and kind of channeling that into the RDG and doing the best you can there, and then hope someone notices.
And then, so I just want to make sure, because I just bring up MLR, but so RDG can go to the nationals, right? So like when you have like World Cup qualifiers or like that higher level, right? And that's totally separate than MLR. I'm just like, that's why I'm trying to get my head around
think
it.
of the RDG as kind of USA Rugby sanctioned for USA Rugby competitions. And then the professional league, MLR, is like a separate entity.
Okay. But then we're talking about higher tier, like, okay, let's forget MLR. But like, if you're pushing to do higher tier, like nationals and things.
If you want to, if you want to get on the HSBC 7 circuit, then the way to do that is going through the RDG, getting into the tier 2 or tier 1. And that's where they are going to pull members to either AR or in goal or anything along those lines. If you wanted to be a World Rugby International test ref, then the USA Rugby tier 1 is where you want to go. If you're in that, is there a good chance that MLR is also going to try to snag you? Yes, but regardless, that's the target you should be shooting for now.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of my question. Is just where to go. Just since I'm seeing a lot of like international refs in the US, so that's why I'm kind of wondering about us. Like, just making sure, or just seeing like, is there any, there is a pathway, I guess, for us Americans going forward, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Does
simple.
that make
Just
sense?
be from Texas,
Yeah.
and
By way of New Zealand.
I don't. Yeah, right. Learn an accent. I won't make any qualms about my opinion, which is that the MLR is not good for refereeing in the US. That their goal is not to promote good refereeing. Their goal is not to improve the level of local refereeing. They have zero that they are going to give back. So if you want to go referee in the MLR, I am certainly not going to, stand in your way or try to discourage you at all. Like, if that's your goal, go for it. But they are not going to promote you. They are going to take you when you're already there. And so the way to develop yourself is going to be find a coach, work hard, volunteer, ask to go to like tournaments and stuff like that.
And I do want to add one thing, guys. The MLR, what they're hoping to do, and they started last year, and so this could be my 5th year. So just so you guys know, I'm the oldest AR by, I don't know, 15 years.
Were
At
you older
least.
than Butch?
Butch is not doing it this year. Thanks to Butch, I'm now the oldest. But what they're hoping to do is get younger, much younger referees into MLR from America, so they start to understand from these. And it's great having these world-class referees come in and, gleaming off of them, but to understand the process and the pressure, because that's the other thing is you could know everything, but they usually just don't throw you right into MLR. They'd like to see how you did in some less consequences because, MLR at the end of the day is still about money and having that's why we're not allowed to get, things wrong, even though we do. But Brett can attest to this. Our referee managers are on us and they're just like, this is just not acceptable type of thing. And we're trying to always improve. But what they're hoping is to have younger ARs so they understand the process and then they can move them up to center. And you actually saw that last Seawolves game, Kat Roach. She had AR'd and they were like, let's challenge her in a game as center referee. So it's their model. They're still working on it, but I can see the fruits of that. But then there is an age bias that goes into it that if you're 30, it's basically like you're over. And I'm 52. And I've basically told JK to, I told him last year was supposed to be my last year. I said, till somebody can knock me off, I'm going to do it again next year. And he agreed. So just have that mindset. Nothing's given to you. You need to, you still need to put in that hard work and everything, but I'm hoping eventually MLR will help to develop younger refs here in the US and will make Jeff a believer in them.
I hope you're right.
There we go. All righty, guys. I actually have to jump off. I have to go mail letters. For my wine club, I got like 300 letters I gotta stuff and mail. So
I'm gonna go open it.
Anyway, yeah. Guys, thank you once again for letting me participate in this. I really appreciate it.
Denny, thanks a ton for presenting. Brett, Megan, thank you both for setting it up. And thanks everybody for joining.
We'll see you next month.
Yep.